You can support the creation of these videos by supporting me at patreon.com/John D. Ruddy. I was there, man, when it all started. Following the hype, collecting all the merch, and getting Pokemon Blue for Christmas, and indeed, catching them all. I'm here to help you build your own Pokedex. What do I mean by that? We are going to draw every single Pokemon. Yes, there's over 1,000 of them now. We're gonna do it. Not only will you learn to draw Pokemon, but you'll also learn loads of great skills for drawing cartoons and drawing people that you can bring into your own illustrations. You can start your collection with a ring binder and some Polly Pockets, or if you just want to draw, you'll need simple printer paper, a pencil, I prefer a HB or 2H because we're going to be rubbing these lines out later, an eraser, and some sort of pen or a fine tip liner, and indeed some colourful markers for the end product. Come along and join as we try to draw them all. Hi folks! Today we are going to be drawing Pikachu! The most iconic, basic mascot of the Pokemon series. This is exciting. So, first of all, we are going to do our quick draw. So we're going to start off with Pichu. Now Pichu is quite straightforward to draw, we can start off with a nice little kind of oval shape. Now Pichu's ears are kind of cool. So watch this. Easiest kind of way to draw them is if you draw 2 lines down like this, but you stop before you get to his head, and then from those lines, there you go. And that's a handy way of drawing Pichu's ears. And likewise, do that, and then so actually I'm going to make these even bigger, and it's going to be handy because they need those extra little designs on them anyway. There's a little spike in there, and you can actually color that right in. Like that. Same like that. And so we can do Pichu's mouth, flat at the top, big on the bottom. He's just happy to be here. And its little eyes, like that. Little circle inside, the little light reflection on the other side. And its cheek, Adorable. And then of course, Pichu's little body, it's so cute and adorable. One little hand like that, and just a little tiny thumb. And one hand like that, and just a little tiny thumb. And little it's like a little mane. Like that. And then his little feet, so he's got 1, 2, 3 toesies. And you know, I'm going to make that bigger. No, it is too small. There we go. 1, 2, 3 toesies. And 1, 2, 3 toesies. And little tail. Adorable. That is little tiny Pichu. And now for the main act of the evening. Classic Pikachu. Pikachu's surprisingly awkward to draw, but we'll give Pikachu a go. For this one, I'm actually kind of going to do a more classic shaped Pikachu. So I'm actually going to start with the ear. Oh, okay, something different. And you'll see why. I'm actually going to go off this one here. So what do you see? So bring it down into a sweet cheek, and bring the back down around into its bum and leg. 1, 2, 3. Little feet coming out. And Pikachu's hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll just say his thumbs underneath. And the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. And then the other leg coming out like that. A little bit of a belly. And the tail. Zig, zag. Up like that. Oh, that's one too many. One too many. But we're fine. There we go. And same on this side. Bring it up, and you can do your little bit for your fur. Do the other ear up here. And now for the wee face. Now in this one, I'm actually gonna. Well, Pikachu's actually kind of mean looking in this one. He's pretty serious. And don't worry, I'll be doing a less serious Pikachu, more cute Pikachu now shortly. This is just for the quick draw. Thought I'd do something different. In the mouth, and now watch this. I'm actually gonna leave a little hole there because we're gonna do the electricity. Doing some electricity is you don't think about it too much. Just let it zap like that. And also 1, 2, 3. Pikachu has little stripes on the back, and there's your Pikachu. And now we're gonna quick draw Raichu. Now, Raichu is quite similar to Pikachu, but a couple of differences. But Raichu is a wonderful, jolly old soul. This is the body, this is the head, so it's got a wee kink of the head. And now for the weird ear, I'm going to go out like that. And go out like that. Same with the other ear. The other ear is like that. And then, watch this, goes down like a spiral. Goes down like a spiral. And then you link it like that. And you link it like that. Okay. And I'm going to do one arm here. One arm here. Raichu is fairly kind of plain hands. And I'm going to bring down the body like this. And for his leg, one leg like that. One leg like that. And 1, 2, 3 toes. And actually, here we're going to have the foot out front. 1, 2, 3 toes. Rub that line out here. So already you can see why, planning your picture and starting all that kind of stuff, what I've been explaining in my longer draws, why all that comes in handy, because sometimes we make mistakes like this. So for the mouth, so Raichu, the top of Raichu's mouth has a wee bit more of a thing to his lip, and then classic hello, I am big, I am happy. And then the eyes, like that. Again, a little reflection. And indeed, the iconic cheeks. And cheeks. And finally the tail. So, double line there. So it's coming out of its bum. Its lower back. The bottom of its spine. And it's continuing on round, and it's going to come out here. So, wee. Now, shape of Raichu's tail. Up like that. It's beautiful. And then down. Like that. And then across. Like that. And then whip it back. Like that. There's your quick draws. Boom. Now on to the main event. But first, before we start drawing Pikachu, we're going to draw its pre-evolution, which is Pichu. Pichu is thankfully a lot easier to draw than Pikachu, because Pikachu is deceptively tricky to draw, and we will see why. In fact, let's just have a look at what I drew back in the day, because Pikachu is an awkward one to draw. Yeah. See the way that head's like huge compared to its body? Yeah, so Pikachu's got a really, really weird thing going on with its body, and let's have a look how to get on with Raichu. Raichu's a little bit better there, but still, we're gonna work this out. But first of all, we'll start off with Pichu, because Pichu is a much easier, simpler way to draw. So Pichu starts out. Oh wait, before we even begin that, we need our. Ooh, also, what number is this one? Pichu is... Let's see if we can find it. This is the first time we're jumping forward on our list. It's in Generation 2. Pichu is number 172. That's exciting. Okay, so here we go. But why is it 172 and not... Well, Pikachu is 25. Why is Pichu not 24? Well, because Pichu was not in the original 150. Pichu was in the second generation. And that was kind of what was mind-blowing with certain parts of the second generation of Pokemon, was they introduced either new evolutions or pre-evolutions to already existing Pokemon. So it was like, whoa, what? So here's our basic structure of Pichu. Very, very simple. Big old head and little cute body. And this is how a lot of the very cute Pokemon are done. Its feet, really handy. Little oval there and little oval there. And its arms coming out like that, and the other arm coming out like that. Very, very simple. And even handier, Pichu's tail is really simple. It's just like a little, it's like a rectangle, but it kind of gets wide out at the end. Now, probably the trickiest thing about Pichu is the ears. So the ears are kind of like a kite shape. So they kind of go out like this, and they're very big. Yeah. In fact, here's an easier way to kind of do it. So you could just draw it like two big horns coming out there like that, but then just closer to the head, you can draw these two lines, and that's the shape of Pichu's ears. And then on those ears, there is a pattern, which is like that, and like that, and a little kind of spike down and like that. Like that would have been just such a massive risk too, of, you know, having another evolution of what the most iconic Pokemon. So on its foot here, 3 little toes. Like that, and it's on its other foot, 3 little toes. Boom. And then little thumb and little thumb. Doesn't even have fingers. It's a little thumb. And then it's got a little kind of, I suppose it's kind of like a mane. It's funny because it's like, you know, usually the pre-evolved versions are simpler, but it's like Pichu's actually more complex in design than Pikachu. But it's like, I mean, Pikachu's design is just so simple, then how do you even go about doing it? Right, so 2 eyes. Kind of the top. Now, the wee circles as well, they kind of point inwards, which adds to the little cuteness. So like one's kind of pointing this way, one's pointing this way. And indeed, inside the little circle, they're they both kind of point inwards, which technically doesn't make sense, but it just kind of adds to the cuteness factor. And right in between, my favorite kind of smile. This is how I draw smiles, even in Man. Nice big deep smile, and little mouth like that, and little nose, and on one cheek, classic big red, and then the other cheek, it's to the side. We only see a little bit of it, but there's Pichu. Pichu's very simple. Now we can add our lines. So and this is the thing with the really simple Pokemon. They're kind of deceptive in how simple they are, because it's like, if they're not perfect, like, I think part of their cuteness comes from their perfection. And so if yours isn't perfect, it might look a little bit weird. Not really that there's anything wrong with that. Now on the ears as well, they're not actually like these. Now I know I kind of drew it here, but they're not these hard corners. They're not hard edges. There's even those corners. There's like a little bit of a curve to them. Yeah, it's like, how do you make something that is cuter than kind of one of the most famously iconic and cute Pokemon? And in fairness, Pichu, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Pichu, but they do a pretty good job in making a smaller, cuter Pikachu. Okay, so there we have it. That's Pichu. And let's color it in, because Pichu is very simple to color in. So we'll just... Okay. So we'll start off with the pale pink. I think pale pink actually might work for... Yeah. Yeah, so the little cheeks are a little pink. And walnut for inside there. Pichu, the shade of Pichu is actually a lighter yellow than what Pikachu is. So now if you're using simpler markers, that's fine. Yellow, regular yellow is fine, but I'm going to use a lighter yellow. This is Buttercup. So for the mane and the little bit of the tips of the ears, you look at it at a glance and you think that it's black, but it's actually a really dark grey. Like, that's how they managed to kind of keep Pichu not looking as kind of big and strong as Pikachu, is that all of the colors are much more muted. So the cheeks aren't red, they're pink, and the ear tips aren't black, they're a very dark gray. Even the shade of yellow is lighter, and all of that helps make this look like an earlier version of Pikachu. Because like, that's what's cool too, like, you know, say like with Squirtle and Wartortle, you know, it probably would have started with Squirtle and then be like, right, well, how would this progress? Whereas with Pichu, it would have been, right, well, what would a de-evolved Pikachu look like? So they're kind of working backwards in that way, which is kind of cool. The eyes, though, are indeed black, but we leave that the little white bit as the Okay, and then finally, just the last little bit. There's not even too many shadows on Pichu, you know, which just helps keep it very cute. But yeah, there you go. There's a little Pichu. Looking at it now, the yellow is actually a little bit too pale. Oh my god. Canary. Yes. Yeah, decided that even though I was like, yes, Pichu is much paler, it was kind of a little bit too pale. I'll just make sure that when I do Pikachu, it is more intense than this. It will be. Excellent. There we go. That's looking more like it. Molto bene. Okay. Okay. And now here we go with the most iconic Pokemon ever. When you say Pokemon, you think of this Pokemon, generally speaking. It is, of course, Pikachu. One of the few Pokemon names that survived the Japanese translation, because there's a lot of ones that didn't. But Pikachu, it literally is electric mouse, as far as I know. So, and as I said before, Pikachu is surprisingly tricky to get right. And in fairness, there's a couple of different designs. There's an older design for Pikachu. Like you can see in this design that Pikachu was much more of a one unit thing with a bit of a head, whereas kind of modern takes on Pikachu are a little bit more nuanced. What does that mean? But yeah, so we're gonna start off with a circle for a head. Now it's not going to finish up being a circle, but this is just to get the, and then the body. So we're drawing Pikachu from the front, and so Pikachu has a great body like that. It's like baggy trousers, you know. That is the general shape of Pikachu. And Pikachu's feet. One there. One there. And Pikachu's arm. Actually, do you know what? No, we'll do the head first. We'll just get the shape head. So the head will has a little kink here in the cheek, and round at the top, and a little kink here at the other side, and his head is slightly tilted this way. And one of the ears, and then one of the other ears. Now again, there's so many different ways you can draw Pikachu. Pikachu is just, there's countless ways and costumes and all sorts of variations of Pikachu, but you know, this is one of them. One of the many. We'll actually draw, we'll draw the face now while we're on it. So, two eyes, the two dead eyes. Little reflections. They can also point in like that. And so where Pichu's mouth was straight across, Pikachu has more of an animal mouth, and indeed a bigger nose. Is no longer just a little dot. It's a slightly bigger dot. It's a slightly, but still big, happy mouth. Pikachu. And the big circles on his cheeks. I say that, but you don't actually see them from this angle. The big red rosy cheeks. So the arms. So we'll draw the arm here first that you can see entirely. So we'll start off just like that. But so he's got his wee thumb like that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Pikachu does indeed have 5 digits. So the other arm's coming out the front like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's little digits. Do you know what? Those eyes are, now that I've drawn everything else, those eyes are actually too close together. Pikachu's eyes are actually slightly further apart than that. It looks really spooky without the colour. And I'm actually gonna raise the mouth. And the wee nose there. Just think it just needs that little bit more space. That looks demented. This is what I mean about, you know, it's really tricky getting Pikachu right. Because he's so iconic, you know, that any little imperfection will spot a mile away. Yeah, we'll go with that. Another iconic feature of Pikachu is the tail. So the tail is pretty cool. It's big, like kind of lightning shape, and sometimes can be tricky to draw. So rather than trying to draw both sides of it, let's just draw one side of it. You know? There we go. That's one side of it. And don't worry about this other side and kind of bringing it down. Now, you can do it that if you want. But we just do lines that are alongside it. But not like straight parallel. See the way they're kind of moving away? There we go. I think I'm just going to shrink this a little bit. Now, if it was really up to me, I would actually, if I was doing this digitally, I'd just take this and scooch it down. But I'm actually just going to make Pikachu just that little bit shorter. Because he's just a little bit long in the body there. And I think, yeah, that's a better proportion. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like any of the other Pokemon, you can kind of get away with a little bit, but Pikachu, and again, because Pikachu's so simple, that's the tricky thing about Pikachu. Because Pikachu's so simple in its design, and that's probably why as well that Pikachu, because it's easy to draw a simple Pikachu, but to draw Pikachu really well is surprisingly tricky. But we're gonna give it a go, okay? So we're gonna start off with this hand. So for his ears, we're not actually going to close off this line. This line actually takes a break for the ears. And indeed, Pikachu is a great example of kawaii as well. For anyone who doesn't know kawaii, kawaii is a concept in Japan of just something that is just so adorable. Some reckon that it's actually like a defense mechanism that, rather than looking dangerous or looking fierce, it just looks so cute that you wouldn't. It's like, why would you hurt that thing? It's kawaii. And there's a whole genre of illustrations and characters like that. Like Hello Kitty is pure kawaii. Yeah, it's funny how like Pikachu just never lost its iconic position within Pokemon. Like other Pokemons kind of Pokemons. I said Pokemons. Shocking. Pokemon. The plural of Pokemon is Pokemon. It's such a grown-up thing to say. So when we were kids, and you'd hear like some adults talk about, and how many Pokemons are there? And it's like, no, it's not Pokemons. It's Pokemon. Would you say sheeps? No, it's the same thing. It's actually the same as Pikachu. If there are multiple Pikachu, they are just Pikachu. They're not Pikachus. It's like there are loads and loads of Pikachu. So I'm pretty sure Misty says it in that episode of it's like an early episode of the anime. I think they're in one of the Pokemon centers, and turns out that there's a whole pile of Pikachu who are powering that Pokemon center. And it's like, well, that's interesting. We're not going to delve too deep into that concept, but sure. This could be a little bit narrower at the bottom. Oh well. Right. I'll start off anyway with the yellow. I'm going to go over this with Sunflower though. But I just want to make sure that it's got a good base layer of yellow. Oh, this one's so much easier to color. And it was all yellow. Yeah. Like that's what's really nice about Pikachu is, you can draw a very simple version of Pikachu really easily. And the colors are easy, and the details are generally easy. I'd say probably the trickiest part of Pikachu, doing a simple picture would be the tail. But even at that, I mean, it's not deathly difficult either. Although I have seen better Pikachu illustrations, this one is not bad. And in fairness, as you saw with the Pichu one before this, it only properly comes to life after the eyes are blackened, because before that it looks super goofy and weird. Again, remember, we're always following that flow of the shape. And again, you don't have to do this shading if you don't want to. If you want to do your colors just nice and straightforward, that's fine. This is just an extra step. I'm purposely actually leaving the eyes till last, because that's the bit that makes it all come to life. And now, let's see if it comes to life. Not like literally, but you know what I mean. Oh, hey! There's Pikachu! Boom! Awesome. Okay, so that's Pikachu. And for today, we're going to finish off with Raichu. I'm pretty sure it's like linked with lightning. I think Raiden. Well, because you have, what was pronounced Raiden in Mortal Kombat, but it should have been Raiden. And then later in Metal Gear Solid, there was actually Raiden, but it was spelled the same way. But yeah, it's the same. Rai. Sweet. I always remember that episode of Pokemon where they have to fight against Lieutenant Surge. I remember when I first saw Lieutenant Surge written down because I didn't know what LT stood for, so I just called him LT Surge. And it's funny because then later The Simpsons actually had that joke and I was like, hey, I made that same mistake. Okay, so Raichu. So we can start off with the body of Raichu. Right, like Pikachu, Raichu has a nice big body. Okay. And the head is right on top. But what's interesting about it, so the head's more or less the same kind of width as the body. But you actually barely see where the head and body... See? Because then you can actually connect them like that. So we'll do the tail first. Actually make him a little bit chunkier. Yeah, he's big and he's strong and he's cute. Yeah, we'll do the tail. So we're gonna have the tail coming out here. Now it's actually gonna go behind Raichu, but we're not gonna see that. But in order to get it to pop out at the right place, we can have it come out here. And so it's a big lightning bolt, but don't worry about the lightning bolt, just bring it up like that. Okay, and then bring it down like that, and then bring it up like that. Okay, and then bring it down like that, and then bring it up like that, and then bring it back in for a double line, and there's his tail. So Raichu, his other leg, well, I didn't do his first leg yet. Right, so here's his leg there, and his wee foot is coming down like that. So his physiology is a little bit kind of more advanced than Pikachu's as well. Like there's a wee bit more going on, and you generally get that with the Pokemon too. Is like the more evolved they are, the more kind of intricate physiology they have. Now the arm, Raichu's arms are actually very simple. They're just big out blobs like this. But this one actually, the skin comes out, meets it like that. So the face has a little bit more definition, has that little kink in the head like that, and we can round this off a wee bit. Yeah. And okay, so we can do the two eyes to start off. Let's get your two eyes there, and again have our little reflections like that. And Raichu's mouth, so kind of similar to Pichu, but it's not straight across because it has these little lips on either side. and a nice big wide happy mouth. Raichu. And there's wee nose. Slightly bigger nose again. And then the circles on his cheek. Oh yeah, also on his arm, there's the brown splodges on the ends, like that. And on his belly, we've got the big white patch. Although we're not actually going to be lining that one out, but we're just putting it there just so you know where it is. So his toes, he's got 1, 2, 3 toes, and also got a little patch on his foot, and then 1, 2, 3 toes. See the way it was like a letter C, letter C, letter C. The letter C is a surprisingly good one for drawing. There's a lot of things we can do with that. And finally, so Raichu's actually fairly straightforward in that way. And finally, the ears. So I'm just going to draw these kind of points here just so we can see where the ears are connecting at the same point on either side of the head. So the Raichu's ears are weird, but really cool all the same. So they kind of go out like that, and they go out at the bottom as well. And out at the bottom, they come in to a little spiral, a little curve. And then they curl out like that. And they have an interior brown bit there. Yeah. And so we can see there, even though now it's going to be behind the head, it's still coming out from the same place. It's still coming out from the same spot. Because again, the temptation is you might end up, if you just take a guess, can look a little bit off. Okay, so there we go. That's Raichu. Let's do the lines, okay? I have actually seen these kind of big, like, weird goblin ears on an actual animal, and I can't remember which one it was. But there is something like that in nature, which I would imagine this is based on. But yeah, Raichu, I always think I find interesting too, because it's just like, it's like the one evolution that nobody wants. Like, even the cartoon made a point of it, where it was like, but Pikachu. Yeah, because in the anime, they go up against Raichu in against Lieutenant Surge, and Pikachu gets destroyed by the electrically superior Raichu, and then Ash is considering, well, what about this? What if we use this Thunderstone and you evolve into Raichu? And it's like, but would that be the same? And also, you know, the TV shows, like, the TV producers are like, dude, we have everything centered around Pikachu. We are not recasting Pikachu to a much uglier, weird looking thing with bizarre pointy ears. So yeah. But in fairness, the reason they gave was very good. And it does have some in-game logic too, where if you evolve Pikachu too early, there's certain agility moves, I think, that it can learn that Raichu doesn't have. So that translates in the show as Pikachu's a lot faster and quicker than Raichu. and Raichu ultimately can't keep up. So Raichu's wee nose, there's actually a tiny little white, you know, reflection on it. Again, eyes like that. It looks just so goofy and weird when that's not plugged in, colored in. You know what I meant. Okay, and finally, swoosh of the tail. I do love Raichu's tail. Raichu's tail is really cool. This is this big, cool looking lightning bolt. Okay, there we go. I think I can actually make this belly patch a little bit bigger. In fairness, we're gonna not see it, but even just from my own mind. I think I might actually do that belly patch first to get it out of the way, and just so that I know. And interestingly, at least in this version, there's Raichu doesn't have any fingers. Well, Raichu does have fingers, but you just don't really draw them. One would assume they're like kind of underneath all of the fur and stuff. So Umber, which is this lovely, really dark brown. But it's not a rich brown, it's this real earthy, like there's no red in it, or very little red to it. It's a very drab brown, and I think it works perfectly for Raichu's brown features. Yeah, do you know, maybe just make it a little bit of a richer oomph. The yellow is just very plain. The shade just has a bit of warmth to it, but not too much. Gold. Always believe in your soul. Do 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 do. I see when you're doing this bit, like you're almost imagining what the fur, you know, looks like, and that's why I think like Detective Pikachu works so well, because they thought of that, and so like all the fur just works really well. The tail here is not the same shade, it's actually richer, but I don't have anything dark enough, so I'm actually going to do a base layer of umber, and then put on henna, I think. There we go, now we're talking. That's exactly the color I was looking for. I do find it satisfying, you know, when you find exactly the color. Okay, and finally, that final bit, again, that brings them to life. There we go. It's Raichu. What we can do now, we can get our binder and we can enter them into our Pokédex. So, let's see. So we can actually go on ahead. Now, here's a tip as well. So even numbers will be on the left side, odd numbers will be on the right. That's important because, you know, once now we start skipping numbers, that's gonna be significant. Okay, so that's nice. So odd numbers. That means that Pikachu's an odd number. So Pikachu will actually be on this side. Yes. Okay. So and you're like, why not Pichu? Well, because Pichu is much later in the numbering system. Because Pichu was created in the second generation. So here's Raichu. And Pichu can go in here. Actually, do you know what? Pichu can go in here for now. Have an extra. Okay. Okay, so we can take off Pikachu and Raichu, and then first one of Generation 2. Let's see. Alright, Pichu, there you are. Hello. Boom. That's exciting. Thanks for watching, folks. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be let known when the next episode is up. It'll be up next week. And what am I going to draw next week? Some of the legendary birds. Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres. Get it? Unos, dos, tres. I don't know. That some translator was really bored and was like, I'm going to do a little Spanish quote. Anyway, so you can join me for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Our first flying Pokemon. Charizard was our first flying Pokemon. But our first like bird Pokemon, so you can support the creation of these videos by supporting me at patreon.com/John D. Ruddy. If my support there grows, there will be much more exclusive content from this series, including me building some Pokemon Lego, which I look forward to. And also, I want to see your artwork. Send it in to me. Send it in through John D. Ruddy at Instagram or Facebook or wherever. If you've drawn some Pokemon based on my tutorials, or if you've just done some like Pokemon fan art in general, I want to see it and I want to share it. I want to point people out to the world of Pokemon art. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.